What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Knights of the Nerds Table. I'm your host, EJ. A couple weeks ago, I made a tribute video to the DC Snyderverse, which seemed destined to go out with little to no fanfare. You guys seemed to like that video, so thank you. But how wrong I was! On March 15th, Zack Snyder posted on his social media accounts a cryptic message from Lord Darkseid.
April 28th, 29th, and 30th. Save the date.
What does this message mean? Should we be hyped or manage our expectations? Well, if you haven't already, like and subscribe to our channel for more content. Let's get Zacktivated and let's do this. So, shortly after this vague message, Zack went on the YouTube channel Nerd Queens to explain what all this meant. Snyder went on to announce a private screening of his 3 DC movies in Los Angeles. He will screen Man of Steel, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and of course, Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is a 3-day event starting on April 28th, going into April 29th, and then ending on April 30th. His first 2 movies, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, will be screened at the Mason Auditorium at Art Center College of Design. Zack Snyder's Justice League will be screened with the director at Universal Cinema AMC at City Walk, Hollywood. This will actually be the first and probably the only time we see Zack Snyder's Justice League in theaters where it was meant to be enjoyed in color. The event is entitled Full Circle, or Snydercon. This is of course where it all started. Almost 4 years ago now, Snyder held Snydercon 2019 at this very same theater. He screened his films Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, and Batman v Superman. During the Batman v Superman Q&A panel, a fan asked him what Justice League was supposed to be and what his abandoned long-term plans for DC were supposed to be as well. At the time, the fans were extremely disappointed by the 2017 Justice League, since it was clear that it was not Zack Snyder's original vision for DC. The Release the Snyder Cut movement was quietly burning in the background, but that day Zack brought the kindling to get the fire ablaze. As Lex Luthor would say, the bell has been rung. After all the rumor and innuendo, the fans finally heard from Zack Snyder himself. He lit into the critics of his film, infamously telling people who thought Batman didn't unalive people to wake the beep up.
My heroes are still innocent, you know? My heroes didn't lie to America. My heroes didn't, embezzle money from their My heroes didn't commit any atrocities. I'm like, that's cool, but you're living in a fucking dream world, okay?
He talked and reminisced of his plans to have the DC Universe just gallop out of the gates in his version of Justice League. How his original version of Justice League before BVS Backlash was even darker and scarier than what he had filmed. Everything he spoke about excited the fans. They yearned for what could have been. That yearning led to hashtags, which led to the Release the Snyder Cut movement. And because our boy Zack has a taste for the poetic and the theatrical, he thought it fitting to have his screenings for Snydercon 2023 right back at the auditorium where it all began. Another full circle moment for this event is the return to the emphasis on AFSP. The Snyder Cut movement from day one was about 2 things: director freedom and suicide prevention. All the tickets bought for this event go directly to AFSP. With the donations from this event, the Snyder Cut fandom will have officially raised over $1 million for suicide prevention. For their part, AFSP has been overly supportive of Snyder and his fans. The leadership at AFSP has said that they have never seen the foundation get this much press since the Snyder movement linked up with them. And that's all fantastic. Fans of Zack Snyder and critics of Zack Snyder alike have made this movement to something it's not about. It's nice for it to go back to its wholesome roots.
Your mother and father would be proud.
Hope so.
Not surprisingly, this event sold out in minutes, and for those who are able to go, they will get their money's worth. There is already a new poster for the event. It's a reassembled Superman statue with one hand down and a hand up, resembling the Greek and Roman gods that Snyder has modeled his heroes after. And that's not the only new artwork being displayed. Jim Lee, the chief creative officer of DC, will be creating brand new artwork for the Snyderverse that will be displayed day of. At all the Snydercons, the talent from the films usually shows up in some way. There will be a live stream discussion and panel after every Snyder film is played, and you can bet Snyder's favorites will be there. Nothing has been confirmed, but I will be shocked if we don't see some superpowered appearances. Especially with Warner Brothers themselves officially backing the event, I expect to see some appearances from Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, and Ray Fisher. Ezra Miller might send something pre-recorded, but because of the star's legal issues, I doubt Warner Brothers will want them showing their face right now. I could also see some more of the minor characters making appearances, such as Jeremy Irons, Lawrence Fishburne, Amy Adams, Russell Crowe, or Diane Lane. And of course, I expect to see Lord Darkseid himself, Ray Porter.
Ready the Armada. We will use the old ways.
And if we're really lucky, maybe we see Harry Lennox and Wayne T. Carr. For those who don't know, Wayne Carr shot a scene in Snyder's backyard as Green Lantern. The studio head of DC at the time, Walter Hamada, blocked this scene from going into the final cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League, because Hamada had plans for the Green Lanterns. Instead, in the current cut of the film, Harry Lennox's Martian Manhunter shows up in the end credit scene. Some fans have been longing for Carr's scene to be released, playfully calling this the Emerald Cut. This is all turning out to be quite the event. We really thought that our beloved Snyderverse was going to go out with a whimper, but we should have known better than that from Zachary Edward Snyder. The man loves his fans, and he wants to make sure that they feel appreciated. So the obvious question, the one most people are looking for me to get into, what does this all mean? Is it just a fan event, or is this teasing for something more, something darker? Is the Snyderverse being restored? Some fans have really read a lot into the poster of Superman. They have interpreted that the rebuilt statue means that the Vision is being restored. The hand has 3 fingers down and 2 fingers up. Does that mean we have 3 movies down and 2 more to go? Zack, for his part, has played along. He told the fans in a recent interview that the poster does have a hidden message. After all this time and so many disappointments, the fans still hold out faith that we will get some type of follow-up to Zack Snyder's Justice League. But because of all the logistics of restoring the Snyderverse, a live-action follow-up seems unlikely. I have heard that some people in the fandom would be cool with an animated adaptation or a live-action comic continuing the series. Zack confirmed that at some point there were plans to continue his story as a comic book, but for whatever reason it was cancelled. And now, with James Gunn in charge, a partial reboot is in order in the upcoming Flash movie. A reboot that will leave out fan favorites like Cavill, Affleck, and Fisher. Because of the looming reboot, there is a more solemn take that some YouTube scoopers have taken on the event. Because we seem to be at the end of the Snyderverse, this event just may be a farewell. Snyder would give his longtime friend and collaborator on Dawn of the Dead, James Gunn, his blessing to build out his own universe, and the cries to restore the Snyderverse would fall mute once and for all. But if this is a swan song, one last encore, what a way for it to end. Zack has more content coming out on Netflix. Rebel Moon is coming out in December and will spawn off an entire franchise with maybe even a video game tie-in. Our man is busy, maybe too busy for any taxing DC obligations. If you are like me, and you have been one of the Armada calling to release the Snyder Cut and restore the Snyderverse, just know that the Snyderverse hasn't gone anywhere. Like Superman's monument says, if you seek his monument, look around. Over $1 million for mental health has been raised on top of this movie's release, and the recognition that Snyder deserves as a visionary director. People finally woke the F up. So, this really isn't a goodbye, it's just a see you later.
Guess I'll see you around.
If you are interested in hearing what Snyder had in store, I will check out these 2 following videos. The fans of the Snyderverse have made a live-action comic called Project Justice League based on the release storyboards for Zack Snyder's Justice League 1 and 2. It's on YouTube and I would encourage you to check it out. It's pretty awesome. Also, Zack was recently interviewed on a podcast YouTube show called Pizza Film School. The Russo brothers, who directed Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, hosted Zack Snyder and interviewed him about his DC work. They are big fans, and he went into more detail about his abandoned plans for the DC universe. It's a bittersweet way to enjoy what could have been, but it's certainly worth a watch, just to see 3 goats of the comic book genre come together and sit down and talk about what we all love. So, if you are going to the Full Circle event, congratulations, I'm jealous. But regardless of whether you are there in theaters or not, let's all enjoy what could be our last go around the sun. The Age of Heroes still lives on. Thanks for watching Knights of the Nerds Table. What a ride. Are you going to the event? Will you be watching the live stream? What do you hope happens there? I guess we will all find out soon. Night out. Have a good one.